Thank you everyone who joined me. I'm not sure everybody who is present here knows about me. I'm a NeuroGraphic instructor. I graduated in 2019 and I've been teaching online ever since. But I found teaching online is very useful because you access audience. Like imagine, like look how many people we have here from all over the world. We have Europe, we have North America. Sometimes I have even from the time difference. That mostly it works from North America this time and Europe and Russia, part of Russia, maybe Israel, like Cyprus or this country, because the difference is 10 hours, like with 10 or 9 or 10 hours, and Great Britain is 8 hours. So it's very convenient to when I teach in the morning, and it works for me. I'm planning to offer a series of classes, and I will tie them to the idea of the full moon and feminine energy, not a woman's energy, but feminine energy. So about me, I'm an artist, I'm a full-time artist, and I also have another art that and I started that before 12 years ago when I discovered NeuroGraphica. I also learned NeuroGraphica and started teaching NeuroGraphica. But before that, before being an artist, I was also an engineer, and I have a degree in professional communications. So like, in addition to extracurriculum activities like yoga, meditation, Kabbalah, various spiritual traditions and teachings, I will try to include and those teaching. So I'm not going to give any classes, please understand me, like about how to be rich, how to attract another half, if you're still interested in that, or how to improve certain qualities. I would like to address our very, very basics. It's like our foundation. That's what creates so-called issues in our life. So if we cannot do something, it's not because we cannot do that particular thing. It's because something before that happened, like in our childhood, that we're not able to do that. When I came to the class and I wanted to solve many problems in my life with the NeuroGraphica, unfortunately, I had some other deeper issues that couldn't be dealt with so easily just by setting a goal and achieving it. So eventually, in spite of my training, in spite of my other practices and meditation, I still find issues that are much, much deeper than some that appears on the surface. So that's why my idea about offering it as a meditative, as a technique. And what I also notice, another thing is very fundamental. We often think that creating that when we get something, we will be happy. That something outside will bring us happiness. But it's quite the opposite. When we're happy, we attract good things, happy things. I do not know how to explain that happens, and I found it in other sources. Our happiness, our joy attracts other positive changes in our life, something events and other people. That's the state within us that actually the foundation for what happens outside of us. And that's what I noticed it in my own experience. And then when I felt great things happened to me, and I felt like so things happened. I would like to begin our class with a short presentation. So the hunter's full moon and the ritual on forgiveness. I was thinking about it, what I would like it to be, forgiveness, gratitude, but I couldn't really decide. And as I was preparing my drawing, a theme emerged. So in some titles I wrote as a forgiveness, some gratitude, but they're very closely related. And you're able, whatever you decide, you will choose your topic and you can draw that. I will give you like a technique, like a guided class, what to draw, but you can draw on your topic that you feel most resonates with you today. Since everybody knows that this October moon, it's called the Hunter's moon. It's one of the names. And the Hunter's moon falls after the Harvest moon. The Harvest moon is the closest moon that falls after autumnal equinox. And the Hunter's moon is typically when the days of harvesting are over. And it's also hunting season. And it was very important in the old days when people, especially tribes people, hunted and they had to prepare food. It's like harvesting and preservation for the time when it's winter time and when it's time to, well, if not hibernate, but activities were much lower. And as much as they prepare it in advance, that corresponds. Yes, we gather, we think about harvest, but at the same time, we have also to appreciate it together and think about the future because we are preparing. So that we see various, of course, vegetables and gathering, but the hunter's moon is tradition, and in the old days, people had provide for themselves. So it's also because activities are low, people have more time. It's also a great time to appreciate. That's why we have celebration of Thanksgiving. Give thanks. In Canada, we celebrated Thanksgiving last week because it's a colder climate and harvest is done earlier. So that's a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's a wonderful time for appreciation for what nature has given us. So every full moon has its own name. And the name, as we know them, Hunter's Moon, and they're the most popular. They come from Algonquin tribes who lived in New England in the area of Lake Superior. And why they're so popular? It's when colonists from Europe started settling and farming in North America, they adopted those names for the full moon. But as you can see on this slide, there are so many beautiful names from different cultures. They have northern Inuit people, northern Canada, and the Eskimos probably in the other side in Siberia. The Celtic in medieval times, they also have Ogham people, like Irish, all Irish, and also Chinese. Chinese have wonderful names. But other Native American give even more descriptive names for the October moon. Like to listen how poetic it is. The leaf falling moon. Water begins to freeze on edge of stream's moon. Moon, the birds fly south. Moon, when the wind shakes off leaves. The moon, the first frost. Of course, there are variation of names depending on their culture. But as we think about this list and the different names, we can understand how important the full moon was an important and a notable event throughout cultures and history. Of course, the names, seasons, and spiritual meaning of each moon gave me this idea to create drawing sessions, reflecting the changes that we're experiencing when we transition from warmer time of the year, like now is the transition time, to a darker time of the year. And darker is probably associated with inward glance within, which is very particular maybe for feminine energy. It's a time of contemplation and thinking. And also when we always look in the nature's decline, activities declines, preparing some for hibernation. That's time for us to hibernate, maybe inward life, and prepare for the future. With the spring, when we also can, when everything starts growing. And the end of October and November, like December, so the transition time. So that's why I started earlier. I wanted to start early anyway, preparing. Also, some cultures, New Year and official New Year starts after winter solstice in December. But it's a good time to prepare. But also, this time of the year is considered very important as a transition time. It's like a pause between changing direction. And not surprisingly, Halloween, the night of All Saints' Day, is in 10 days away. So that's considered that the barrier between, at that time, it's considered that the barrier between the two worlds is thinner. The veil is thinner. So that's why it's this time It's so auspicious for our own growth, spiritual growth. And of course, this hunter's moon and the fall season includes rituals that includes balance, transition, gratitude, and of course, thinking about our foundation, our ancestors. And why is it so important? Why I decided to draw this theme about based on their mandala. It's not a full family mandala, not full ancestral mandala. It's just based, there's some ideas that I took from it. When we think about gratitude, when we think about transformation and transition, I wanted to us to look back at that time when everything started, when we were growing. Probably our parents, our grandparents were the first people that introduced us to this world, and the people from whose roles we looked, we adopted. So that's our family environment. It's so important for our development. So that's why I wanted to start with the first mandala, the first class in the series of classes about gratitude, forgiveness, and just finding peace in everything that relates to our family. No matter how great it is, there is something. If you look in life, and in many traditions state that if something doesn't happen great in your life, look back when you were growing up, look in your family, and check your relationship with your parents, grandparents, and family. Of course, you're welcome to just express gratitude and thanking your parents, your family, your ancestors. You can do what I expressed my intention, and you're welcome to create your own. So, and with this, I would like us to, I'm going to switch the camera and we will start drawing. As you can see, I prepared for my class traditional pencils and paper. So now, instead of like with talking about the theme, I assume that everybody knows a little bit about NeuroGraphica, because the NeuroGraphica became so well known in the English-speaking world that those who find NeuroGraphica, they're familiar with basics. It's not going to be too much rounding and too much lines. There will be a drawing, more like meditative drawing. I assume everybody knows enough. And as usually with our NeuroGraphica, we start with setting a theme that we were going to draw. And at this time, I would like us to think about our intention. So what we would like, just think about it as our general theme is our thankfulness, expressing our feelings or healing our feelings towards our family, towards our ancestors. Just to take a few seconds just to think about it. Ask yourself what I'm feeling right now. And personally, I'm feeling very positive. I'm connected to my parents very well, but there are certain like areas in my life I understand. Maybe that's something I'm hiding from myself, and I would like to heal that. But there is something in my life that I suspect that subconsciously it's something exists that I can't reveal right now. And that's NeuroGraphica. It's very good at. So I'm setting my intentions, addressing a particular issue, and I'm letting it without even knowing what it is. I use my drawing to heal, to I don't know, to balance that area. So my intention, without even revealing, subconsciously, on the subconscious level, without to help that area. So you see what you probably know from traditional, various traditions that everything we've ever experienced, everything we've ever seen, learned, is stored in our hard drive. But hard drive, so-called hard drive, is not in us. It's like the universe. Everything is written there. But unfortunately, it's impossible to delete from there. But it's possible. The only way we can do that is just to create like a different impression. So instead of that impression, just to create a stronger impression instead of that. So that's what NeuroGraphica does. And of course, I'll talk much more about that in my basic classes, my basic user course. So this is setting my intentions, something I would like to start drawing. So I will use a marker, a fine marker for creating a drawing. And I use, if you wonder what kind of pen I use, it's a Sharpie pen. It's fine. I don't like Sharpie markers. That's true, and I never use them. But a Sharpie pen is good. So, but the other tool that I like very much is a Sigma Graphic 1. It's a 1 millimeters. It's very nice tool, very nice marker. So, and as for the future, I often use compass, but I decided I'm not going to use it today, even if it's desirable, because I didn't ask you to bring. So if you have, it's good, but if not, I will not. So with our family mandala, so-called family relationship, it always starts with me. So please, somewhere in the middle, I position myself, a size in relation. I'm thinking, what size? Just let your hand draw it. Just move your hand. Okay, so this is me. So now I ask myself, I know asking, but also I'm going to draw two the most important people in my life, of course, my parents. And that's in traditional, when we look, it's always like a father on the right side and mother on the left. And also I left my hand decide what's size. Size, that also means importance, and also a distance, it's relationship, like how related I feel like. I will also start with my mother. Maybe I can start with my mother. It's easy for me to start with the mother because we're it's close relationship, and it's okay. Interesting. Almost touching. But with my father is different. There is a connection, but there is no such deep emotional or intellectual connection. I'm just deciding my hand. My hand is like an indication what I'm really feeling about it. So you can't deceive the body. So now I start drawing. Of course, I know my parents well, and I know we're connected. So I do not know any, like my grandparents, like I know my grandmothers knew. They are not in this world, but I don't know my grandfathers. So many who is from Europe can relate to that. There were not too many grandfathers when I was growing up after the Second World War. And again, I just use my hand again. Father of my father on the right, and mother on the left. I'm a little bit bigger because I knew. And I may do another just for, because it's still close relationship, maybe another area like again from great grandparents. I go only 4 generations. I don't go any further. Typical ancestral mandala is 7 generations. I'll do only 4. Okay. And I let my hand free to draw, and father on the right and mother on the left. Okay. And of course a connection between me. It very looks like a chemical formula now in your drawing. And essentially, yes, it's like a connection. So now with my mother. So my grandfather, that would be her father, would be on this side. And her mother, my grandmother, with whom I was connected. Oh, I was always surprised. So for me in particular, then it's much easier for me to draw my mother's side than my father's side. I've been drawing these mandalas for quite a few. I have it with different themes, and I always noted that. But this kind of mandala is I tried yesterday, and this is the second time. Again, grandfathers, his father. Oh, I don't know these people. And this is my great grandmother, right? And on this side. So I don't know anyone further than my grandmothers. I don't know even the photographs. So again, but that doesn't mean anything. That means the energy still exists. We still have imprints from those people. We still have some influence. Of course, our bodies, the makeup, we inherited from our parents, but there is influence from that side as well. Okay. And okay. So this is the basic drawing structure of that family. So what I would like to, and what I'm feeling, I would like to give my energy and share an understanding with all those people. My also connection that I would like to feel, this is my life. So please understand me in the right way. I do appreciate, I do love them in a certain way, especially since I've been thinking about the last few days about this composition, about this drawing, about this experience, about this meditation. I feel very positive. I have some very warm feeling, but at the same time, my life, this is my life. And I can't carry their fears, their worries, and some of their opinions, which I inherited against my will. When we were children, we couldn't inherit anything else. All we had our parents or grandparents, people we met, the first people we met in our life. And some of the programs, some of the stereotypes are not necessarily useful in our life. They saved us, they helped us, but we have our own life to live. And at the same time, feeling grateful for what we received from our family. So I'm sending this gratitude. So also, if you feel like influence, like something too much, it's possible to work with, if you want is to experience like more influence from one of the parents, you're welcome to increase. If you want to diminish influence, you can use a smaller circle to decrease. So because every circle represents the size, it's in relation how much importance we feel, how much like dominance we feel. Honestly, I need to be what I would like. So what I'm doing, I'm decreasing influence of my family, and I increasing myself. because this is me, this is my part. Wow, as if I'm drawing it. This is very interesting how, so look how balanced this circle. I, yeah, I would like to feel connection with my mother. So we're almost touching here. It feels nice. Just I increase myself, my importance. I'm fine with my father. We're connected. But for some, and I'm sending what I can do. I can send my energy. A gratitude for those people whom I never met, I'll never meet, and who I don't even know. And I take this energy in space outside. I can't reduce the size. Again, this is me personal, and I feel like I would like to decrease these figures. And also I can send my, I will send the energy. I was connected to my grandmother, and I can send energy directly to her spirit. Oh my God, I just realized that today is the 20th of October, that it was 1989 when she left this world. So it's very interesting. So I'll just thank her and send her energy. I'm experiencing the goosebumps. Yes, thank you for what you've done. But please, I don't want to hear. There's something that opinion, that idea that I inherited from her, and that very much create obstacle in my life. All I want is just, please, let's disconnect in this sense. Please do not feed me with energy. And I can do the same with other people in my connection. If you knew somebody directly, you can, if you have connection, you can connect directly. I just make sure that I care about everyone. And just a few lines connection, sending my gratitude, my understanding, and just asking me to release from some fears that I experienced because of them. And I can understand if I said I'm from Europe, there was a lot of hardship when they were growing up, living. And now I'm going to me. Okay, yeah. Strengthen my energy. So we are drawing the NeuroGraphic line. Also, in terms of rounding, if you feel Like I have so many lines, and it's unthinkable to create rounding. So in terms of rounding the corners, if you feel a rounding is done, if everybody done the basic user course, always the emphasis is on rounding. I can tell you big secret that not everything we have to round in NeuroGraphic. Rounding is done, especially in the figures when it's conflict and when it's a tension. So if you feel tension and you want more relaxing, do rounding, and as much as you need. Rounding corners, the corners also represent the connection. Uh, Typically, I do rounding when I, at the same time as I'm drawing. There's a few more lines. If you felt something interesting, something that you want to continue, you can always continue drawing lines and rounding after the class. The NeuroGraphic always assumes that we can come back to the drawing and continue work on it. And the criteria is, it's not so much artistic beauty, but what are you feeling? What are you feeling whether you complete it or not? Whether you feel good, whether the drawing makes you feel good, whether you're satisfied with the drawing and the achieved results. That's the criteria of the drawing. So I think that for my structure composition, what relates in relation to my family, it's fine. And I would like to create this energy field that I called torus. So I will show you the mandala that I practiced yesterday. What I mean, to give me an idea. So that's this mandala that I was drawing yesterday, and it was different. I felt different because this is my second drawing on the same theme. So I would probably use compass for drawing torus. Torus is like energy. It's like our energetic field, toroidal energetic field that surrounds every human being, every object, anything that exists. And I will probably give a class specifically about the toroidal field. It's also a beautiful mandala, but for now we just create this field. I'm not sure whether if you've seen those figures, it's like this. It exists. So, for example, if it's a tree, so the energy comes like it's like perpetual motion, and of course it's 3D. It's like going all the way. So it comes from house, and it's like magnetic field, and it's in the human being. It's from the heart, and it could be felt like about 3 meters away from a human being. So with this, I would like to send my energy from my heart, from all these family ancestors, using the same idea of sending my energy and love and gratitude. So I would probably use the compass, but because you don't have a compass, the idea is showing. So they will be from the center and like this, radiating. I will use a cup. So this is the center. I love this precision. I always have a ruler and I always have my compass, but because you don't have this right now, the tools, you're welcome to use compass if you have like ready, and to draw circles. They're all coming from the center, okay, they're not from the center, they're touching the center, like this. I will use a cup or anything round. You can use a small plate or anything else. So I position it like this, so I measure this and works well. So this touches the center, my center, and I draw with a pen a circle. You can do it by hand as well, but I just do it so it looks nice. Then I move it a little bit more. Again, it touches the center. So they just give me like a sketch. Yes, I move it a little bit more. I would probably 6, 7 circles. You can do more. Just outline them. It's another center. Touch it. Center, like this. And this energy, now this work, neurographic drawing begins. And use even a stronger marker because energy, my work with energy is more important right now. And I outline them with a neurographic line. And now you can start feeling this. And I make sure that everyone is, somehow it's touched. Not exactly, not perfect. Just a little bit more. Okay, so if you, that's basic, but if you feel like we need more lines, more circles, you're welcome to add. I use my cup. Just when you're drawing it, make sure that it's dry inside. I feel like I need more, a little bit more those lines, circles. And you can see that we're drawing so many circles, how harmonizing it is, how balancing it. Yeah. Okay. Only came, so I do a little bit more. So you feel adding as many circles as you feel like, the way you feel like completed, that your intentions are, so it satisfies your requirements. So you feel fulfilled your intentions. Just maybe one more. can connect the circles with a rounding. Yeah. Okay, I think I have one more. Go back to my fine marker and easy to do rounding, and also I feel working with a fine marker, I can draw more lines, but at the same time, the drawing is not messy as if I draw with a big marker, with a stronger marker, wider. So now is probably a good time to ask yourself, how are you feeling as a result? We've almost completed the drawing, but you still can, you may continue as long as you need to feel satisfied. But as we're drawing, just ask yourself what changes as a result of your drawing. Whether you're drawing counterclockwise or clockwise, I do not know what to answer. There are two different energies, and they're both important. Interesting, when I was drawing yesterday this mandala, and it's very different from what I'm drawing today, all my circles were drawing it in the opposite direction, and this counterclockwise. And this morning, all of them are clockwise. Clockwise, it means that typically that energy goes out. If we think about spiral, if that's going unfolding. They can do more lines connecting with a background. You know enough now about NeuroGraphic when we always connect the figure with the background. I have extra lines. Okay, so when we completed this drawing, it's mostly complete. Again, you're welcome to continue working on it. if you feel like. And now I would like to apply the colors. The colors that I apply strategically, they're based on the energy of colors and the energy of 5 elements. And I would like to use more like a pink, like red for feeling in relation to love. And I apply like a gentle colors, a gentle pink, like purplish color, and related to more like spiritual energy on all the figures. I want everybody like in a good feeling. Also, it's easy to do the colors. If you change the figures and you have extra lines, you can always connect. You can always use the color to emphasize the size that you need, and the size means importance. I don't know this figure. I will. What are other colors I would like to use? As definitely, I would like to add wisdom to all this process, and wisdom is associated in the theory of color with the dark blue. Like the element of water, wisdom, depth. So this is my idea of colors. So you're welcome to use different colors. If you use your intuition, this is your drawing, your connections. Also feel like with the colors, also wisdom, and a similar element is as wood, which is green. And if I have an element of like fire, which is red and with associated with deep feeling with love, I will add a little bit love to myself. I also need the green, which is color of wood, which supports the red, the fire. And water supports wood. Typically, I apply colors like lightly at the beginning, and then I put more pressure when I'm satisfied with the colors. I can apply more pressure to bring more strength, more contrast to my drawing. But typically I start with light colors. And of course this drawing, when it feels so cold, I would like to add a nice like sunny color. This is in this theory of 5 elements, the color of earth, yellow and orange. But I also, for this expression of fire, if I have fire, I would like to where fire can express. It continues into earth. It transforms into earth, so it doesn't burn on its own and burns everything on its way. And also, it's always nice to have like nice warm colors in the drawing to create balance. I will continue. So time is almost the end of the class. So when it goes to the end of the class, I will continue with my colors applying. I will finish the drawing. So right now it feels unfinished to me. It's probably like your drawing. And I will include it in the final drawing. I will include in my video. So that's typically what I do in my classes. So the final drawing will appear on I will post it probably online in my Facebook or on Instagram to show the final result. So it's in the NeuroGraphic. I will ask what the figures, the final one, what the most important for me in this drawing. The central, like I would probably say that I thought about myself, but then at the same time, I will not go with this, give you the answer right now. I would like to have a little bit of time working on this drawing and contemplation and to decide what's important for me. I don't feel it's finished right now. Maybe I will create probably more circles, more energy. It feels a little bit empty for me right now. So that's my, but so far it's finished, and I hope you can continue on your own. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope we will have more drawing sessions together in the future. Thank you very much, and I will see you online.